And just because I'm drinking the green cup, that don't mean nothing good about the situation, you know. This is the biggest cup that's accessible. So yeah, with that being said, I'm making this video in regards to the Dwayne Wade situation with his child. You know, just transgender. I mean, it's really about transgenderism, sexual confusion, sexual perversion in general. And he's just an example. That family group is just an example of the crisis that we're currently in. I mean, for those who know me, you already know where I stand at. For those who don't, you can see where it's going and how I stand with this subject matter. But I felt like with all of what's going on and how big it is, I felt like I would be corrupted if I didn't say anything. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that I would be doing the world a unjust service if I was to sit here and remain silent while all these atrocities are taking place in this world, you know, where people are literally sacrificing, you know what I'm saying, their children for fame, you know what I'm saying, knowing what's true, denying the truth thereof. You know what I'm saying? Like I I would be, you know, categorized in that group. You know what I mean? I would be fitting in that group if I was to not say nothing in regards to this in regards to this matter. You know, so I just can't afford any longer not to say something, not to speak up in regards to this matter. I mean, I make passages and videos and songs about um, you know, homosexuality, da da da, woody woody wop, but nah, nah. So I'm gonna go to Psalms 39 before I do that. You know what I'm saying? So it says, I have said I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. I was dumb with silence. I held my peace, even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within me, while musing the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue. Yahweh, make me to know my end and the measure of my days, what it is that I may know how frail I am. Behold, you has made my days as a handbreadth, meaning they're short, and my age is as nothing before you. Verily, every man in his best state is altogether vanity. Salah. Surely every man walk in a vain show. Surely every man they are disquieted in vain. He heap up riches and know not who shall gather them. And now, Lord, wait I for what? My hope is in you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. I was dumb. I opened my mouth not. Yet you did. It says, I'm just telling you how it's supposed to say. Remove your stroke away from me, and I am consumed by the blow of your hand. When you with rebukes do correct a man for iniquity, you makes his beauty to be consumed away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity. Salah. Hear my prayer, O Yahweh. Give ear unto my cry. Hold not your peace at my tears, for I'm a stranger with you and a sojourner as all my fathers were. Oh, spare me that I may recover strength before I go from here and be no more. So check this out. He says that there was a fire that was kindled in him because he chose to keep his mouth silent, even from when it's a righteous moment. He says, I chose to keep my mouth silent, even from the good. It is good for us to speak up against the unjust. When injustice is happening, when oppression is taking place, it's good for us to speak. But he didn't. And this could be counted as a transgression. I gotta speak. I can't be like, oh, I know where I stand at with it. I know what I would allow. No, 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 no. And not that I have not touched on this, but I've got to show where I stand at because this is a black man, and there's an agenda for why they're using this black man and this black son of his, you know, in this transgender, satanic agenda. There's a whole deeper thing behind it. And everybody has to speak up where they stand at. It's time to renounce all of these atrocities because the judgment is coming and everybody be judged according to what they with the time they have. You be judged how you speak, how you look, everything. So be mindful of that.
Wow, no chef filling in for you when you're not there. Being a chef, being a father, the entire nine, your biggest inspiration, your children. I mean, I follow you, bro, and the things that you do as a parent, but two, it gets a little bit more complicated as a celebrity parent. Because people are gonna always want to scrutinize you for your thoughts. There's always gonna be some sort of additional conversation. But from what I've seen your humility, from what I've grown to know over the years, and just for the things that I've seen you do, how you handle yourself lately, right? And inspirations. What's your biggest influence now since you retired, and what inspires you, going forward? Listen, man, you know what? Like I go through life, and I'm a perfect human being. Right? I'm imperfect. All right. My wife always, I'm imperfect. I'm imperfectly perfect. All of us are imperfect. But if it's one thing that I promised myself I would do, is that no matter what, and I decided that I was going to be a parent, and it decided upon me that I was going to be a parent, that I was going to love unconditionally. Not conditional love. I was going to love unconditionally. And we all take what that means for granted. And so when you become a parent, you realize what being selfless really is and what it really means. Because before you become a parent, it's all about you. Life is all about you, but then you realize it's not about you. And so for me, man.
So who's it about? That's the key. There's people just letting them rant on, but who's it about? Life is not all about you. You got a Jesus cross on your neck. You used to wear the little Jesus piece earring that's black, so we can't see if that's one of them. You got a cross on your wisdom cross even represent to you. What does that mean to you? What is life all about? You're not saying what life is all about. You say it's not all about you, but then you don't say what it is all about. Then if it's all about children, then who says that? Where did you get that teaching from?
And when it comes to my kids, and I'm not the perfect parent, you can ask them. I'm sure I'll fall short. For sure. Yeah, I'll fall short, but here's the thing: if my village is strong, right? When I talk about justice,
You see the shot? They're short for sure. See the little sneaky shots that are being direct? They're short for sure, huh? Yeah. Trees know by the fruit that it bears, huh? Children are supposed to be the fruit of you as well, huh? All right.
When I ain't around, who the father of the house? Chef. When I ain't around, we got a whole different.
And when he's saying chef, there's these two couples. I'll just show a little. Where we at? We at 4758. There's these two people that's inside these other two people, and he says that he got a little village. Is a group of people who, you know, um, that supports his lifestyle. So with that, that's like you incriminate. You see on the bottom of the screen right there. I don't even want to go back there. But you see, there's a whole group of people that supports what he's doing. You know what I mean? This is not something that is pushed on him by his gap. Like you got all these fake prophets, all these antichrist people who've been praying for him, praying for Will Smith, lying and saying it's their wives that are pushing them into this. These niggas be into this stuff, man, as well. It's both parties. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up in this confusion. Learn from the Lord. If the person don't have the Holy Spirit, you're not learning from the Lord. He says, no one should teach you but the Holy Spirit. So you'll learn from Father God directly if you have the Holy Spirit. And if the person that's trying to teach you don't have the Holy Spirit, you should not be listening. Listen to this garbage, and this is how you'll be able to determine. This is how you'll be able to determine where these people stand at. Listen to this. Watch how you hit. Let's watch. Let's listen.
You know what I mean? We got family. We got my sister-in-law.
Whole village
is involved. We got a whole thing. And my thing is this: first of all, I don't do this alone. I get credit for it because I'm the one that they got my last name. But it's a whole village that's around me that helps raise my kids.
That allow. What was he about to say? Look at that face. That allows. That allows what? What do you mean? That allows him to behave this way? That allows what? That allows you to groom your son? What does that allow? You know what I'm saying? Where does this face come? What does that allow? What are they allowing? There's a whole village. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention, man. Look at that. Somebody take a snapshot and send it to me.
Because of my job and my responsibility. But here's the thing: when it comes to my kids and whoever they're going to become, whoever they're going to be, I don't care.
Mm, but you are a loving father that loves unconditionally, and you don't care. In order for you to love unconditionally, you will lay down your life for a person. In order for you to really say that you laid down your life for this person, and you have to have a strong interest in a person. You have to have strong desires. So how can you not care? What you that doesn't mean your interest in that person is not that strong if you don't care. Or are you gonna try to say you listening that he really just means that regardless of what he's becoming, I'm gonna support him, right? That's what you're getting from that? Okay, let's keep listening. Remember, he said he doesn't care what they become, whatever they want to do. So if the child wants to be a murderer, right? You got no problem with that. There's no guidelines, there's no boundaries with you, right? Whatever the person wants to be, if he wants to go out and just start fingering little boys, little babies in the butt, you know what I'm saying? He go to his friend's house and then he just want to look for the little infants and stick his finger in their ass, you know what I'm saying? And then create a business that opens up a daycare and just fingers little kids in the ass. You're fine with that. If he wants to just cut up and mutilate animals for the rest of his life, just right kidnapping domesticated animals from his neighbors and do whatever. You don't mind. You're gonna in addition to that, you're gonna support him. You're gonna make sure that he or she, meaning that because you got an actual daughter, biological daughter, no matter which one, you're gonna support them to the fullest and whatever the endeavor is, right? Come on, man. Do y'all really believe that? So you have some grounds. If that's not true, if no, like, of course he's not gonna go to that. What do you mean? Of course he's not gonna go to that extent. How are you, the listener on the other end, gonna say that he's not gonna go to that extent? How do you know that? He just said he doesn't care. So where is the standard? And how did you base the standard? For anybody saying that, of course he would not allow that. How what do you judge as right? Where did you come up with that decision? Now you're being biased. Now you're being contradicting. Now you're being hypocritical. You're contradicting yourself. So you do have rules. So that means you do agree with what he's coming with. You do accept that. And there's a part of things that you won't accept. Don't freaking lie to us, man. Play some games.
All I want them to do is to be happy in life and to be themselves throughout the process of life.
Even if it means killing people.
Wherever you're gonna be, it's my job as your father, as your parent, to facilitate those things and put you in a position to succeed at those things. It's not my job
To facilitate. So if your son wants to be a porn star, if Zion wants his new stripper name to be Zaya, a porn star, he decides he wants to be a porn star right now, like at 14. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be a porn star at 14 years old. You trying to help him facilitate that. You wanna see him you want to see him become a porn star to his best potential at 15 years old. That's what you're trying to tell me. You're gonna help facilitate it and make sure he's at his best at becoming a porn star. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of challenge you want. Because regardless of what it is, it's not your job to tell him what to be, right?
to change who you are, Brandon. It's not my job to tell Fred, you're not like that. You don't like that. It's not my job to tell me you don't like something. If you come to me and say, Dad, I like this, or Dad, I am this, now it's my job to sit down with you and understand where you're coming from, who you are, because you're different than me at this point. And now I need to educate myself and get knowledge on it, okay? Educate me. Let's sit down and let's go over these things. Let's talk about this because I don't know. I come from a different school, but it's not the only school in town. So it's my job to understand that as a parent. If you got one way of doing things, that's for you. But your kids they need more. You know what I mean? Especially as you keep having kids. My kids range from 19 years old to 2. So I can't parent Kavia the same way I parent Zaire. That was 19 years ago. The world has to.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. There's different pairing methods, but there's principles and standards for everything. You saying that is you just define that you have a job as a parent. So you have set a certain way of thinking and to govern them. And so you agree with lawlessness. You agree with the Antichrist. You agree with that Alex Crowley, do as you will. It's not like you just immature, you don't know what to do, you're in a confused situation. Poor me, Dwayne Wade. No, no. But what does the word of God? What does the word of God say about this situation, buddy? What does it say in the scriptures? What does the scripture say? It says, now these are the commandments, statutes, the judgments which Yahweh your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them, and that you go and possess it, that you might fear Yahweh your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments which I command you, you and your son and your son's son, all the days of your life, that your ways may be prolonged. And here therefore, you Israel, observe to do it, that I may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahweh your God of your fathers has promised you. You see that? So you got laws, you got orders that you're supposed to keep. It says right here, verse 7, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, these laws, and these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them, and you shall sit in the house, and you shall walk by the way, and when you lies down, and when you rise up, you shall bind them for a sign upon your head, and they shall be frontlets. And you shall write them upon your posts of your house and on your gates. You see all the details he made? Like, dog, that's dramatic in a good way. Like, it shows you that God is serious about this. He is super serious. You shall teach them when he wakes up, when he goes to sleep, when you're at the table eating with them. After they do school, when you wake up in prayer, when you go to sleep in prayer, when you're walking down the street, when you're coming back from down the street, it should be on your gates, meaning your neighbors should know where you stand at. The community should know where you stand at. It should be on the inside of the house so you can remind yourself before you leave outside the house where you stand at. So how you don't know when you stand at? How is it that you don't have no standards? I don't know. I gotta Google look this up. What do you gotta look up about this matter? What does the word of God says? You got a Jesus chain on your neck. You got brought up God in this conversation. What does God says about this? How you don't know what to do? What do you mean? Because you worried about a whole village that ain't really worried about you, because when it comes down to it, they're gonna sacrifice your ass like you sacrifice your son. And because of what you did to your son, you give people all the more audacity, just open base season on playing.
Change. I've grown, I've changed, and now I have to grow with the world. So when Cobb comes to me and say, Dad, I'm Bob.
You see that? I have grown, I've changed, and now I have to grow with the world. So he showed you where his allegiance is. He just expressed to you. He showed you by his actions, then he confirmed them with his words. I have to grow with the world. He did this because the world is doing this. That is not no real man. That is not no alpha male. That's not no solid stand-up person, male or female. Period. That is not leadership quality. That is not parent material. That is not husband material. That's damn sure not father material. What are you talking about? You have based your decisions on how to raise and groom another child based upon the world. This fucking world is allowing kids to be kidnapped every single day, dog. What are you talking about? Huh? Kids are being kidnapped, sex traffickers at the old time high. Ain't nobody saying nothing, Holmes. People being robbed and raped next door. People talking about some, I ain't snitching, I ain't seen nothing. What? But you damn sure ain't going over to stop it either. The government is allowing the police to shoot black men. This is the world is allowing. And then we go watch movies. We go watch movies promoting these things, and we pay for it as a source of entertainment. This is the world. This is the world. The world thinks it's okay for 22 states to be to make it illegal, to illegalize feeding homeless people. This is the world. And so that's what you're trying to grow with? What do you mean by grow? The world is dying, Holmes. Like, this is what you are associating yourself with? This is what you're trying to conform yourself to? That's what he just said out of his own mouth. I ain't twisting nothing around. That's exactly what he just said. And his action shows it.
Bob, I didn't do this and that. I may not know what it is, but you know what I got? I got Google. I got friends.
I got Google. I got friends. These clown ass, jigaboo ass niggas. I got Google. I got friends. He didn't say a Bible. He didn't say he got God. He got prayer. I got intuition. He don't got his damn self, obviously. He didn't mention his self, his intuition. He didn't mention God. He didn't mention his Bible. He's lost, sold. He's gone. Sold into the world.
You know what I'm saying? I got TV show, whatever it is, I gotta figure out.
I got a TV show. You hear this? I got a TV show. Man, can y'all stop saluting this man? Talk about like this man some type of leader. He gets some scores and some credits. Listen to his decision. Listen to what he's basing his decision on. It ain't no intense, thorough research deep in my heart. I did some soul searching up. None of that. None of that. But he's going to contradict himself. Don't forget. Remember, he says, whatever my child wants to be, I have no control over that. I got no standards. I'm just going to help facilitate and make sure they become the best of that. I don't care what they want to be. It doesn't matter. There's no guidelines. There's no order. There's no structure to this. Remember.
To make sure that my kids are getting what they need from me, and that's it. It's not my job to make them anything. It's my job to build them up and lift them up. We know the whole Lion King, right? When
clown ass nigga just played, did it? That's what really got me upset. You clown ass nigga, you just missing the Lion King. And then he said, it's not your job to make them anything, to build them anything. The scripture says to teach them in the way they should go, according to his word. Then your dumb ass try to use Lion King, right? Watch what he said about Lion King.
When he went out there and lifted them up, that's what I do for my kids.
But guess what? In the movie Lion King, the whole village told Simba who he was. Mufasa, who gave him to Rafiki, told him who he was. Rafiki, who lifted him up, first and foremost, because Mufasa didn't do that. It was Rafiki, dummy. Rafiki lifted him up. He told him who he was. When he went out to the world, he smacked him on his head. You don't know who you are? His father told him again when he looked in the water. Nala, when she came searching for him to come back to the prize, she told him who he is. You are king. They've been telling him and grooming him to be that. So you trying to convince us that you wasn't grooming this child? How did you know this child was going to be this way at the age of 3? Come on now. Nobody's even taking them serious. You see how they talking about a sensitive topic. These niggas are still joking about the Lion King joke because they realize how disrespectful. Like, this is a joke. They're all just getting paid scripted money to put on this performance to make him look good and to justify what he did. They're all making joke, and then they got the whole theme wrong to let you know what time it is.
I know all the words. Me too. You know it? You know all the words. You're gonna mumble something like this. Don't go the lion. Sing with me. Hey. Because obviously, you talked about your village, and you mentioned many people in that village. Because you have to live publicly. Because
So we're gonna move back to the next portion where he talks about where he gets to talk about this child situation, this child abuse situation again.
it's ever gonna make me not feel that way. But then you bring this woman in, and listen, she'll tell you, I'm like that with the kids she had for me too. Like if she say something foul to them and I don't like it, she'll look at me like, you got a problem? Absolutely. but I'm saying that to myself, not out loud. And bro, like there were times, fellas, like we're having these conversations, man, and I'm away on trips and I'm getting calls that my daughter's doing something or she's this and she's that, where I know my wife needs to be protected. Right, like that. I know that my job as her husband is to take care of her, but all I can think about is my child. Right, like all I can think about is that her mom's not around. All I can think about is that she's having to deal with these things, and I couldn't get myself out of protecting her.
You see, did you see how stone his face got? He doesn't know because he got a bright red jacket on. He don't even know what this man about to say out his mouth next. Whether he gonna go with the flow or whether this man gonna just like shoot them shots. That's why his face was so stone serious. Like nigga, you know that she was groomed to marry you, and that you sacrificed your son at the age of 3. And that's why y'all started having that conversation. That was the first time I entertained that idea to do that. And y'all about to find out that his teacher was gay and his teacher was grooming him as well.
Right, and so you go through these situations, bro, and she's crying, right? And all I ever knew is you always had me. Right? It was never a question. I was there, and I ain't leaving ever. Right? You had my wife, like she's always taking care of you, like you were her own. And having her ask me, why did my mom never want me? Right? And so at that point, you go through a range of emotions. Right? One, you have to explain to her how worthy she is. You feel me? Like I gotta tell her, nah, it don't matter what they do. This is who you are. This is who God made you to be. This is how I feel about you.
Whoa, he put God in the equation. So y'all know what time it on, you already know what time it is.
Right. And then you go through the other thing, like I've been here your whole mother effing life. Your whole life I have never left. When they thought there was another decision to make with you, I was there. Right? When she wanted to leave and do this, I was there. I've made every decision in life so that you're okay. Right? But you always have the dynamic, whether you want to or not, that, you know what, I know that that's not your job.
RC, that's deep. That was something, man. Y'all trying to make me cry on show. With that though, was there anything there, like RC just said about, with the mixed family? Was there anything there with you and Gab? Yeah, there was something there earlier on. My wife got sued by my ex-wife. Yeah, think about coming home to that. You know, out of practice. Yeah, you get sued with $200, you okay? You get sued with bread. Then you know what? Once again, you know, as hard as it was, and as hard as it always is to take that high road, we took that. Because ultimately, no matter what was going on in the midst of anger or hurt, the kids come first. And so our whole job this whole time has always been to not allow the kids. One day they're gonna be able to read what the hell is going on, and that's unfortunate. But we're never putting shade on their mother, right? We're not doing any of that, right? We're the adults. We're the imperfect ones that have made these decisions. Only thing we're gonna do is lift them up, and lift their mother up, and don't lift everyone. And that's what we all did. We all made sure at all times that no matter the situation, how ugly my divorce was, all we did is pump positive juice into the relationship that their mother would have with Zaya. And that's all that mattered to me and my wife. And it was hard. My wife wanted to sue back. My wife wanted to go. Because it's taking at her profession and what she do and what she's built. You know what I mean? The things that were said, but ultimately it's about these kids. And if you leave with love, if you love unconditionally, then none of that is gonna matter at the end. I wanted to make sure I was on point. You know, we don't script anything on here. But there's some questions, you know, some things that I came across that I wanted to kind of know myself. But you wrote Zaire a letter before you went off the board. He said, my goal as a parent is to raise kids who know their worth and that are better. I'm not in the top. You brought a lot to the table. You too late. He pissed me off. For the people that are going to go to the dump, nah, you too humble, bro.
Let's skip a lot of this BS so we can get straight to it. You see all this scripting, man.
And it took me, and this wasn't, I didn't say it didn't come in one day. I had to understand this out here, and it took me, and guys, everything in life that I do, I realize that it's not me who's doing it. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror. You gotta go to that mirror and look in the mirror, and when you have kids and say, all right, if my kid is gonna be boom, 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 how are you gonna deal with it, sir? So when it came to Zaire playing basketball, I had to realize, Zaire, you're not me. Your experience and your talent is this. Let me tap into that with you. Okay, it's not about me. And when it came to Zaya, let me tap it. Okay, Zaya, let me look in the mirror because I'm gonna tell y'all something. And people don't want to hear this and don't believe this. At 3 years old, me and my wife looked at each other and we said, what if
Zion comes home, at the time, the name was Zion, and Zion comes home one day and say, Dad, I'm gay, or Dad, I'm this, I'm that. What are you going to do, sir? That's
But what? First of all, did nobody? That doesn't ring a. That doesn't sound the alarm. This is how I'm about to teach you how to be very critical in analyzing words, behavior patterns, frequency on so many levels. Why did he say, "What if Zion came home one day"? What makes you assume that he would be the one coming home? Why didn't you say, what if I come home one day and Zion says, or what if one day Zion comes to us? Who this I'm just thinking like these questions pop up in people's minds about their kids. One, the age is too early, is so alarming. That's suspect. But when the thought pops up, I'm trying to figure out how many other parents the phrase popped up in their mind like that. What if the child comes home one day and says I'm gay? Like, what makes you think that you're already implicating yourself into a conspiracy? You're already saying that there's an external influence. Like he's gonna come back different than the way he came out. The way he left out, he's gonna come back different. What that's what I'm trying to get at. What if he comes back one day? From where? He's 3 years old. He didn't even start school yet. Where is he going to come back from? Where is he going at 3? You could just imagine. Could just be imagine. Just imagine we're dealing with celebrities. By the way, the word celebrity comes from celestial beings.
And so what I did at 3, when Zion was 3, is I prepared myself. I looked in the mirror and I said, yeah, what are you going to do? Because you in a locker room where all the guys use this, nothing but you can't, you this, you that.
Whoa. You're in a locker room full of guys. Then you see how his mind is so like where you're in all day, where in a locker room full of guys that you're gay, you're this, you're that. So now you're comparing your son's situation to your situation, 2 different wide age range spectrums here. So are you not saying that you're clearly saying that these men are calling you gay? And you're all other things that God knows you have done and they got on you. Or they're making assumptions based upon how you behave and what they do know about you. That's what you're pretty much, he's letting you know indirectly. Just watch how this stuff get introduced and then he breaks it in. But it doesn't matter to him because you can see in the spirit of the kind of men he's around if you follow.
Yeah, you host facts, whatever. So I'm in that locker room every day. What are you gonna do, sir, when if your child comes on and says, Dad, sorry, I don't want no parts of basketball. I don't want no parts of your life. This is my life and this is how I am. How are you gonna do it? You thought about that at 3? I thought about that at 3 years old. When did Zaya have that conversation? 8 years old, 5 years later. Okay, so here's my question, right? Because that was important. I just kind of explained to you how I feel about my children, right? There's an obsession with my children that's probably under, right? And so as soon as I heard about Zaya, I started paying attention. I became Monday morning father, right? And I said, this is what I do. This is what I feel. This is what I would say. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, bro. Everything that you did had nothing to do with the thoughts that I had. And you made me check myself, right? Because I claim I love my kids, right? I claim I support my kids. And I'm watching another man who I admire, right? Another man who just lived a life not only on the court but off the court that is to be emulated.
What? Do you hear this? What has Dwayne Wade done on the court or off the court that should be emulated? He's not even considered the greatest of all time. That was like a hype for one season. I'm just trying. I'm throwing this out not to shoot at the man, but to show you all of this jerking, all this slurping and jerking, all this paid promotion. I'm showing you all this in this flattery, this flattery. They're just on such a sensitive topic about an innocent child's life. They are sitting every moment to exalt this man and idolize this man. I'm showing you this demonic behavior, this homosexual club. I'm showing you all these feminine tendencies, and you can tell in their body language and their behavior patterns and how they groom themselves that they all with it. I'm telling you, I'm showing you. I seen it before I even watched the rest of this video, but you're gonna know about the rest of this video if you don't already see that now. I'm trained to see this. This is not hard when you got the spirit of discernment. Pray for the spirit of discernment because this is sick and you got to speak up. Because guess what he just said? Now he's questioning how he raised his child. So you telling me we got 5 men in this room, 5 black men in this room who considering grooming their freaking child the same way because they know deep down in their heart that he groomed that goddamn child. He didn't just come home. You knew, and then he knew his teacher was gay. You didn't just find out his teacher was gay that day. You knew his teacher was a female gay teacher, a female, probably white too. You knew this. You know that. You knew that already. And the whole village with it. Y'all gotta keep your circle close and know what you got going on in your circle.
Things differently than I would as a parent. And then, very recently, I looked at your child, right? I looked at Zion. And I know the only thing that we want to do is to see our children smile, right? But what I also realized, I was like, so he's been loving, he's been supportive, he's become a champion beyond his child. And I said, and it's looked easy. I can't believe that it was easy. So can you kind of take us on the journey? Because we see the destination. Take us on the journey.
We see the destination, yeah. Sacrifice.
From finding out.
How do you see the destination with something that's supposed to be new? How do you know the destination? You didn't even know how to raise and groom. You're questioning how you can groom your child. How do we, everybody inside this room, everybody that matters about this subject matter, this whole village and everybody's part of this little network on this broadcast, how do y'all know? How do y'all see where this is going? If this is such a new topic, if this is so foreign and we need to know what was going on in Dwayne's mind, y'all picking his brain like this is such an unfamiliar topic. If it was just simply about Zion, how do y'all then know how to forecast the situation? Because this was there's an agenda behind this, a social engineered, premeditated agenda on this child's life, and y'all know that.
I is saying, Dad, this is who I am, to seeing D. Wade on talk shows, D. Wade being a champion for not only for his daughter, right, but for anybody who looks at Zion and says, you know what, that's what I hope to have.
Wow. And this is the man who brought God, and he's supposed to be a man of God. You see what's happening? That's why he threw God in there one time to try to paint an image as if he's a man of God. God would have been throughout the whole conversation. In order to do that, in order for you to constantly, consciously bring up God repetitively, you will activate your subconscious to tell the truth of what you know about God. That's why they don't stay consistent with God in the topic, because God is truth and God is spirit and God is the spirit of truth. And you will invoke the spirit of truth that's within you and you will bring his presence. Being as a creation, as a child, that will cause you to be paranoid if you're operating out of the will. You may not know everything. You may not even be the most Bible book savvy, but you will know enough in a situation like this. So therefore, they don't do it. You can mention God one time, but it's not too many men who are so wicked that can groom themselves to stay solid in their conceit, in their deceit, in a dialogue that's directly with God as the foundation and the focus to resolve all subject matters. Not too many men. They will have to be trained and seasoned for that real wicked, evil men.
Growing up in the inner city of Chicago, in the hood, you're told that boys do this. Boys play football, boys play basketball, boys play baseball, boys date girls, whatever the case may be. But you're told this is what you do, right? So I'm no different. I'm raised that way. I'm in the locker room, I say all the things that everyone is saying. I'm not sitting up here like I have never done or said anything, right, when it comes against the opposite sex. Because I was ignorant, I didn't understand. When it hit my doorstep at 3 years old, like I said, me and my wife looked at each other, right? And the reason we looked at each other is because of this, as kids, I used to put on heels, I used to do all those things. I try to put on whatever my sisters wear.
Whoa. What? Yeah. We got these muscle shirts, right? We got muscle shirts, and the shirts are tight. They're like upper body leggings. Men wear those. We got sports shirts that just wraps your body. We even have swimming suits for men that wraps your body. Nothing really homosexual about it. One time I put on my sister's turtleneck, like a sweater she had. It was a female sweater. And I told her to take a picture of it, ask her how I looked. I didn't pop my wrist. I didn't turn my head to a side. I didn't say, by the way, let me go put some makeup on. We laughed when I did it because it was a joke, because we knew it was feminine. But in all actuality, I liked it, the style of the sweater. And I would wear a man's version of it. There's some clothing that are for men. There are. But then for you to sit here and say that you not being groomed by nobody, want to put on your sister's lipstick, you just want to do whatever your sister does. You said you did, and then he says he did everything they did. So what does that? At what age did that stop? Did you hump boys too? Did you do sexually inappropriate things with boys too? Did you run around the house trying to pop your lips? Like, I didn't do all of that, nigga. I didn't have no secret agenda to do that. There was no burning lust inside my body to be a female. Oh my goodness, man. Let's keep going, man. Listen to this stuff, man. And what's more interesting is no one interjected. This was not unusual. You see all the time, if you watch this whole video documentary, Dwayne Wade's full interview, I Am an Athlete. If you watch this whole documentary, niggas cutting off, interjecting all kinds of times. They're not doing it like so just aggressively, but nobody interjected through this whole wave, especially about this nigga, weird beginning of his life. And when did it stop? Because obviously now that you're open and you're confident in being yourself, we don't see you wearing no lipstick, you wild ass nigga. We don't see you in no, you know what I'm saying? You don't wear it on a day-to-day basis. You wore it during a celebrity event, during a time where you're amongst these elite Illuminati people, to take a picture for them, you clown ass, goofy ass nigga. You could have been lying about everything you just said just to get $1, just to push the agenda for these people. You don't even walk around with these female tendencies. And now that your son is out, why don't you do it if that was your ways? You already showed that you like gay stuff, but so why aren't you exhibiting the same characteristics? Your son is openly out now. You're throwing me off. Where's this? You see what I'm saying? He's doing it. I used to do this. So he's just behaving like how I used to behave. Yeah, show you back.
My sister did, I try to do those things. So at first I said to myself, oh no, I did that. No, I ain't just doing the things that I did. And then it kept going further and further. And then me and my wife had to look at each other and say, well, what if?
Nobody ain't say nothing. Out of control.
And at that moment, everything that I was told.
Then he said it went further and further. How further can you go from putting on girls' clothes and wearing lipstick? What are you saying? It kept going further and further. What does that mean?
Went out the window because now I'm a parent. And my sole job and my sole responsibility is to make sure that this kid grow up knowing that it's supported and is loved by his father. And
knowing it's supported, he called it it. He called his son a it. He called his son a it. And it's a job. It's not a desire. It's not a pleasure. It's a job. My job. My job. You think these words are small. You think I'm just blowing things up. This situation small? Would you not critically analyze every detail that comes out of a person's mouth? My job. My job. My job. It. He only says that he and she because of the program. Nigga don't give a damn for real. Come on, man.
The other parent, right? That's my only job. And so when it came down to Zion, at 3 years old, I looked at it and said, okay, D, I looked in the mirror. And now, not only did I look in the mirror, when I went in the locker room, I started changing the way I talk. I started changing how I listen to things. And I started challenging people in a different way. Once I started to ask questions to my white friends, because I've never been, I've never been, at that time, I've never been, no one is in the NBA or play basketball, I've never been openly gay. Right. I've never had a conversation, even in our locker room, openly in our locker room. So I was ignorant when it comes to this.
Ignorant, openly gay.
Space. So when my child came home at 8 years old, we were living in Chicago at the time. After I left Miami, which we talked about, my child came home. And the reason my child didn't come home, it was an assignment that was done at school. An assignment at school would say, tell me about yourself. And this was the time where Zaya took the time to say, I'm black, I'm this, and I'm gay. At the time, Zaya said, I am gay. So the teacher called at 8 years old. At 8 years old, the teacher called home and said, hey, I just want you guys to know we post these all over the school, but we didn't want to post this if you guys didn't blah, blah, blah. Right? So we sat down with the teacher and talked about the teacher at that time was a gay female. Okay. Gay female.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Teachers already in there grooming kids. Okay. That's okay. From the man of God, that's your response? Okay. Like, it's all right. That's nothing. You don't, there was nobody ends up asking a question. You don't think the teacher may have had some influence? But guess what they were, instead of asking that, guess what these niggas' response is?
Dying the confidence.
That's a blessing.
To say those words.
The teacher gave Zion the confidence to be able to say, how did the teacher give Zion the confidence to say those words? What does that mean? Why didn't Zion want to say the words by himself? That doesn't even make any sense. The teacher gave him the confidence to say those words. That's a vague statement. You're just all over the place. You're leaving so many gaps out there. Why? If you're going to go to the extent to talk about such a sensitive, perverted situation that you caused and you help transpire and transition and facilitate, why don't you go into the details? You feel so confident and bold to have a conversation. We don't script nothing. We don't pull bunches here. Why are you making it so the teacher, you're incriminating people, put all the details out here? What does that mean? Gave him the confidence. Why would he need if this is who he wants to be, why does he need the what do you mean gave him the confidence? So the teacher had a private conversation with the kid walked up to the teacher. That's how you're trying to convince us? You're leaving it out in the air. That's what you're trying to convince us? He gave the child the confidence. You don't find this out until later. So that means that the teacher's been having conversations about if that's the case. Now listen, because people say, well, yeah, Jamal, if that's the case, that means the teacher been having conversations, had knowledge that your child was gay, or liked the gay idea, or was entertaining the gay idea before you ever knew that. None of that offends you. He's not gonna bring none of that up, by the way. Not gonna bring none of that stuff up. And you trying to tell me that this teacher not grooming other kids and there's not a whole bunch of kids and not the whole class gay? Because that's how they do it. They'll put the majority of the children as being who've been groomed in a room with a handful of people who has not been groomed and use them to create an ecosystem. The teacher, the facilitator, and the kids will create the climate. So all the majority of kids are all kids who are groomed, and there'll be a handful of kids who are not groomed, if not only 2 or 3, so that they can't have too much of a union to stand against. Depends on how strong their primary target is. And they'll put them in there. If they see the kid a little, oh yeah, he got potential. Let's put him in a cluster of kids who would not attack him. I bet you everybody gave a round of applause because they was already with it. They were probably introducing them to these things. We was humping at second grade. What are these kids who are taught queer and transgender? What are they doing for sexual perversions? We was taught this because of the perverted stuff that we watched and the stuff that we've seen in our neighborhood, in our households. Now it has transitioned to a more wicked level what is happening inside these classrooms with these kids. And you got wild ass parents like him now. Now y'all get to see what kind of parents some of those kids are coming back when your kid punch a kid in the mouth because he say something gay to him, or he trying to look over the stall at his wee wee. You see what I'm saying? He trying to look over the stall at your son's wee wee. This is what happens. You got parents like him who's not even giving the whole truth. They probably grooming him like how Will Smith. Will Smith used to kiss his sons in the mouth. He used to do violating things in the private. We know he did it in private because look at what he was doing in the public.
So when we sat down and I was in the room across the way, I prepared myself for 5 years for that moment, not knowing what I was gonna do or say. When Zaya sat down with me and across the way, just like me and you are right now, Ryan, I'm looking at my child. I don't care about anything else. I'm looking at my child and I'm looking at my responsibilities. I'm looking at a child that's crying, that's afraid to tell their father, that they're different than what you probably thought I was. That I don't want to play basketball. I don't. Sorry, I don't even want to be. I'm not a boy. I feel that I am X, Y, and Z. Right? I'm looking at my child, scared to tell me, and I feel like I am pretty open at this time. I realized that I needed to do better, and I needed to do more, and I needed to educate myself. And so what I did is I picked up the phone, I researched as much as I can because I need to understand. I sat down with my child and I asked questions because I didn't know. Because it's not our job and our responsibility to tell you who you are. You are gonna be who you're gonna be. It's my job to try to put you in the best position.
He just he just contradicted himself. Don't this nigga look like a lion right here? And then they mentioned the Lion King movie. And he just used the Lion King movie as an example of how to be a parent. But in the Lion King movie, everybody told the child, the whole village told the child who he was. Because who the child was already within him. And the family is supposed to be the family is brought together to show the child. Because they're supposed to be equipped by that time to show the younger generations who they are. If you don't have that skill within you, then you're not a qualified parent. You're not ready to bring no children in here. If you haven't observed by a certain age who that child is, then you're doing a poor job as a parent. So you all over the place. You don't know what you're talking about at all. But I know damn well you know enough that this child ain't supposed to be no transgender. But remember what he said back ago. I gotta go with the flow, with the community, the way the world is. I gotta grow with the world. That's what he said. I gotta grow with the world. He has to grow with the world. That's what his concern is what the world thinks. He's not really concerned about what his child thinks. Whatever the world thinks, that's what he's gonna make his child out to be. He sacrificed his child to the world. Let's not forget what he said out of his own mouth.
Missions to help you reach that goal of who you want to be. That's my job to tell you.
I thought it was about who he is, but now who he wants to be. All right.
You know what I mean? And right now, we experiencing that with Zaya, my 13-year-old, who last year we came out and we spoke to the world that, hey, my 13-year-old came home and said, Dad, this is who I am. I am a transgender child. And we didn't come out until she was 12 to the world. But the reason we came out to the world was because I got.
How does a child know what a transgender is at 12, let alone 8? Because now you're trying to say that the child been this way all the way back to 8. So if we look at the date, look at this clown ass nigga, man. It's 2021, right? 4 years ago, from 2021's what? Anybody knows how to do math here? 2017, man. How does this child know? This thing is fresh. We just put the T a few years before that. They're barely teaching that in schools. They just started pushing this thing into the school. This is right during the time that Trump is in office. You serious? Come on, man. Come on. I'm a transgender. He just learned that on his own. 8 years old. Stop playing games. You allowed some people to get access to your child and you liked it. You went along with the program. You liked what was being presented.
Tired of trying to hide my child. Taking photos with the rest of my family. not posting Zaya because we posted one thing on her birthday and it was so.
As sensitive as this wild ass nigga that like to do what females do and put high heels on, if any of that shit was true, why didn't you start crying yet? Something like that so sensitive. That's a sensitive thing to say, dog. That I had for a long time I was hiding my child, and I got tired of hiding my child, feeling uncomfortable taking pictures with my family, but not taking a picture with my child. You sound like that lying ass Kevin Gates nigga about how his mother died and why he trying to justify why he put his hands over his mother's mouth when she was dead. And nobody told your dumb ass to show the whole world about her being dead in the first place. You don't make any sense right now, dog. And your actions are showing it.
Many bad comments that we wanted to hide her from it. But it came to a point where I said, am I hiding her from it? I'm gonna hide myself. That's another huge thing to me, right? Like the first two things, the first two feelings you get when you have children are love and protection, right? Yep. And so like I remember hearing it and saying, how would I balance those two things? Right? Because like we made jokes about me not worrying about being knocked out, but like the other thing is like I'm just a fighter, like I've always been. You know what I'm saying? Like I got like two modes. Either we're getting along very well, or like let's just throw hands and see who wins. Let's call football, people. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I'm gonna be honest, man.
It's enough. This enough of this video, man. I didn't even watch the whole video. I couldn't take it. I'm not even about to sit here and watch the whole video and make this thing longer than what it need. Point case proven. You know what I'm saying? You see the agenda, what's going on. You see how they're trying to put all these men in this room to make it seem like they all had different point of views. They all different, as if all these handful of men represent different personalities of kind of black men. Like they as if they represent a diversity of men within the black culture. They do not represent the diversity of men in a black culture. These men have a lot more in common than what you think. They're all vicarious men. They all idolize this nigga Dwayne Wade. They all participate in abominational behaviors. And they'll be all willing at that time when they made this video, they would have been all willing. To God be the glory that they repented by this time. But they're all willing at this time to actually treat and groom their child just like how Dwayne Wade did. You hear this. You get that message loud and clear. Loud and clear. You understand me? Like, I didn't even want to show you the clip how the other dude faked the tear. You could tell. Then he puts emphasis like, I'm so crying, like as if the camera can't see that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all a game to them. And it's sensitive. And it's the crazy part. Everybody's acting and making light about such a deep and sensitive topic. Men who come from a race of people who are being shot down every single day. Men who are aware that there's an agenda because y'all live around these elite people. So you see it more in your face. There's an agenda against black men. A genocide against your whole race would take such a sensitive topic about castrating a boy's penis off of his body. Castrating a boy's penis and testicles off his body. You have made that child now 3/5 of a human being. He's an icon for being 3/5 of a human being, thus less than a man. Why do I say 3/5? Because they cut two things off of him. They cut his penis, which is the instrument that represents force. That's why white men like black guns. And then the ammunition, the regeneration, the spirit from which it comes from. They have cut both of those things off. And so now they get to finally use a black man as an icon of you literally are black man, 3/5 of a human being. That's what the whole objective is. We can use this child to reduce the future of black men. We can use him. Oh yes, we can use this child as an icon of what you young black men did. Black man will never be a threat again. I guarantee you we can do this. And we can push this whole thing. And all these boys want to start cut. We can catch them. If we can keep them on these drugs, we can keep them on this poisonous food. We can pass a bill to where we can allow kids to castrate themselves before they have a chance to make their mind up. And so just imagine all we can penetrate this black community of all these young black men and start cutting their dinglings off like we used to do in the slavery days. But now we got a law and we got them voluntarily going along with it because we have poisoned and programmed their mind. That's what they would like. That's what the wicked would like. That's what the wicked would like. But it's already backfiring against them. The transgenders are coming out crying every single day, wishing they never made that decision. This child, if they actually castrate this boy's penis, it's going to forever hate Dwayne Wade until he repents. Only God will be able to change that child's heart. Once he comes to the consciousness of what happened, of what's going on. This child was during an age. And so I know they keep him on psychedelics. I know he's getting to an age to where he's reaching a certain level of realization beyond the programming. He seems very intellectual as well. This is going to start to conflict his mind. There's going to be a separation between that counterfeiting. He's about to reach the age where he's going to be able to see the counterfeiting spirit easily, no matter how much he doesn't want to, because he's weak in spirit. I wouldn't be surprised if there's sorcery and spell to keep him under the delusion that it's done all the time. Food, drugs, with prayers, spells, and rituals, and all this stuff to keep him under a certain frequency. But he's going to break past that for God's glory's sake, for the sake of God's glory. He's going to break past that. And it's going to backfire on him, because it's already backfiring on this whole agenda of trying to take advantage of these humans that they have manipulated. They have manipulated some people's DNA before they got here. They have put soul ties on the people before they got here. They have put hormones, chemicals in the black community for the women who are on welfare inside the Tupperware. So when they put the food in the microwave, the chemicals secrete inside the food. They have put hormones inside KFC, Popeye, these things of nature. 13-year-olds coming out with 4 male breasts. A 12-year-old boys coming out with 4 hair on their chest. Increased in bone density, looking like men. They have been doing these genetic modifications since the beginning of time, so shall it be in the end. But all these things are about to backfire for the glory of God through Yeshua HaMashiach, so his name be lifted up. All these things must come to pass. And so now we must renounce it. And I'm going to show you the power and the glory of God. The power of life and death is in the tongue, Proverbs 18, verse 27. And you got the power to make some things come into existence and to forbid some things come into existence. Understand about prophecies. Prophecies can be warnings or fulfillments. Some things must be fulfilled. Some things doesn't have to be fulfilled. We can come against some of these things that are written. For the sake of God's glory, he will do it. You better know how to use the power of your tongue. I'm coming against these fools and hope that they repent for their sake, because God's going to get the glory no matter whose name is written in that book of life or not. I'm going to leave it on that one.